Hey, Matt here, and welcome to Mob Street. Have you ever wondered how to make your TW faster? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this video, because this bike right here, my 2021 TW200, is the bike that I am going to be trying to take to Bonneville Salt Flats to set a land speed record. Obviously, TW and land speed record have probably never ever been used before, but we're gonna make it happen. I want to talk about the speed because I've done some top speed videos with the TW, and I've got about 66 and 64 miles out of it when I've done those videos. Keep in mind, I am a bigger person, which with the last video was one of the main things that people said was like, you're gonna want to get a smaller rider on your bike because obviously less weight, the faster you go. Well, I'm gonna be piloting my 2021 TW200 on the Bonneville Salt Flats, so obviously weight might be an issue. I'm gonna do my best to lose some, but for everybody out there who's not a small TW rider, this is gonna be for us and for everybody else who aspires to be a little bit heftier. Or anyways, so let's talk about the speed. With the stock setup, you've got a 14-tooth front sprocket and a 50-tooth rear sprocket. One of the quickest and easiest ways to gain a little bit more speed out of your TW is to change out your rear sprocket. So if you go with a bigger tooth sprocket on the front, maybe a 15, because you can't go too much bigger because of this casing right here. The chain will actually come and hit that casing, so about 15 is as big as you want to go sprocket wise on the front. But on the rear, I've seen some folks go down to a 45 tooth, so you would be getting a bigger drive gear and a smaller driven gear, which is actually going to give you quite a bit more top end speed. Now remember, with the TW, when I say quite a bit more, it's maybe 5 or 6 miles per hour. It's not a lot, because keep in mind the TW200 is a 200cc air-cooled engine. So I mean, it's not a big power horse, so we should not expect it to be this monstrous thing. And the one thing that I mentioned in the last video is, with the TW, I don't want to do any massive changes with it. I want it to be just a few things that are already available. So if anybody else, which I'm hoping happens, wants to go out to the Bonneville Salt Flats and run their bike out there to see how fast they can go, I hope that this inspires folks to go and do that. Because this is just for fun. This is just something that I think would be an absolute blast, because I have not seen an official record for the TW yet. As far as intake and fueling go, I don't want to do anything major with the carburetor, but with the air intake, maybe a uni air filter put on there, gain a little bit more air out of it, and just see what it does that way. Now, if you can think of anything else that we can do for the TW to make it a little bit faster, feel free to let me know. I will be getting some more street-oriented tires for this. So those Dunlop K180s, I think, would actually be a really good tire for that, because they hold up really, really well on the road, and they're just a good, solid tire. I'm not the biggest fan of them off-road, but for something like this, I think they would do great. Now, coming back to the whole weight thing with the TW, I'll take off my Cycle Rack's rear rack, and I'll take off my turn signals on the front and the back. But other than that, I don't want to do any major modifications to it, simply because I want to see what we can get out of the TW just as is. No crazy mods. So the other thing that we can talk about here is exhaust. Now, the folks, I see a lot of the modded TWs from like the folks out of Japan and everything, and I see it's like a Super Trap exhaust on there. I cannot seem to find that anywhere. If anybody knows where that is, let me know. But the two exhausts that I've seen so far for the TW is the FMF and the DG. Now, the DG seems to be the more available option right now. I'm having a little bit harder time finding the FMF, so we might just go with the DG. Other folks have said, hey, you know, we've put them on there. I haven't noticed a big power difference. There's going to be two different ways I want to measure this here. So there's going to be like maybe seat of the pants power, and then there's going to be putting the bike on the dyno and seeing if any mods that we make to this actually have, you know, increase the horsepower by any. So with this bike, I've already got a baseline on the dyno just to see where it already runs at. I ran it in 4th gear and I ran it in 5th gear to see, you know, if the sprocket change would make that, you know, that much of a difference. So we do have base runs that we can use for the TW. Now, I have seen that some folks are using the XT225 header pipe back to the exhaust. I might try to find that as well, just to, you know, if I'm going to do the exhaust, I might as well do the exhaust. But as far as power gains go, there's a lot of folks on the TW forum. There's a whole bunch of different things that folks have done. So if you're wondering, I'm going to go check that out. I'm going to see what's available there, kind of just to give me more of an idea of what we can do. But if you have modded your TW to make it a little bit faster, but not overly like modded the thing, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hit 88 miles an hour on this thing. Now, some folks have said, be careful when you get going, you know, a little bit quicker with the TW. The front end might start, as I fall on the ground, the front end might start to wobble a little bit. So what I will do with that is make sure that my steering head bearing adjustment is, you know, within spec, maybe even a little bit on the tighter side of the spec, just to make sure that there's no wobble in there. So that will definitely be done, and I'll do a video on how to do that so that you can do that as well if you're wondering. But other than that, you guys, what are some other things that we can do to the TW to make it a little bit faster, but at the same time without going crazy? You know what I mean? Kind of keeping it stock, but getting a little bit more out of it. So if there's jet kits that you would recommend, if there's intakes that you would recommend, if there's, you know, maybe there's some other sort of exhaust out there that I haven't seen yet, but more of a street tire on there, and then obviously maybe a little bit more of the weight on myself. So I will be changing out the fork fluid on the front end just to make sure that it's up to par. I might go with a little bit heavier fluid. Let me know if you've done that and just seen what the results are. But I am so looking forward to this. This is going to be so much fun. And thank you to all those who have already commented on here and said, hey, maybe check out this Facebook group page, or hey, I've got a buddy who ran down there, let me talk with him. For all of you who are doing that, I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for putting those down in the comments and hitting me up and giving me whatever information you already have. It's a huge help, and I'm totally looking forward to this. So if you want to know how to make your TW go faster, first thing I'll recommend is the sprockets on the TW. Now keep in mind, that'll give you top end, but it'll probably take away a little bit of the bottom end. And for a lighter person, probably not that big of a deal. But for a guy like me who's like seriously sitting at 240, obviously I could do better. But I will be losing some weight for this, and hopefully, I mean, well, we'll just see what happens. Anyways, hope you found this informative. If you have comments or any advice or anything that you think that we can do to make this go faster, put that in the comments down below. And thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I'm Matt. This is Mob Street. This is the bike. on its way to the Road to Bonneville. That's what we're going to start calling these, the TW200 Road to Bonneville. Thanks for watching.